hopefully not going to diarrhea myself after eating way too much McDonald's.
I hope you do diarrhea. I'm excited about it.
I said that's so Philly. McDonald's.
I'm gonna get that hoagie
way too
wet.
much of that John.
All that wet John.
That wet John.
That wet John.
Got my fucking McFlurry over here, dog.
Yo, give me a shorty hoagie wet.
Wait, do people actually say wet?
Yeah. I'm gonna go down to McDade.
Yeah, McDade Boulevard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to live right off McDade.
Did you really?
Kind of close to St. Joe's. I don't know.
Kind of close to St. Joe's.
I like really fucked up the thing there. I just need to think.
Who in this game do you think is most likely to have a Delco accent?
Well, the problem is we can actually hear their accents.
Yeah, I've seen dudes in Delco who look very much like Azul. So I'm pretty sure I went to high school with him.
I thought you were gonna say I've seen people in Delco controlling little toy cats with their mind.
Yeah,
so.
he was from St. Dot's Parish, but he was a good dude. He's a good dude. He was pretty good at football. I mean, Upper Darby never won a game with him, but that wasn't really his fault. Yeah, I went to a party recently where it was just being fully back into the full Philly Delco accent, full on. It felt good. It felt like home. I think it's just taken an entire pandemic for me to be endeared by the accent of where I grew up.
Yeah.
Imagine if Rosso had a Delco accent instead of a Russian accent.
Yeah, let me see. God, I need to look up some of her lines. What's the one that's...
most of it was in end of chapter 5, I guess.
Yo, dog, if you manage to survive that wound, I'll make sure you don't survive the next one. But no matter. The end is upon us, dog. I don't think anyone from Delco would ever say, but no matter, the end is upon us.
That's a good question. Where did Rosso grow up? Was she also like a Russian who was abducted?
Like if she grew up in Deep Ground, why does she have such a drastically different accent?
She's never seen the sky before, so is there just like a Russian sect of Deep Ground?
All of the sudden, I don't believe this game anymore. This is the thing that pushes it over for me.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? I mean, they might even go into that at some point.
Beliefs fully unsuspended.
I feel like everything with this game so far, I've been like, they didn't put any thought into this, and then I find very concrete proof that they put way too much thought into it. So.
Oh my god, yeah. Speaking of that specifically, I am so embarrassed for what we're getting ready to talk about on this episode, because as I was going through it, I was like, oh, this game might actually be incredible. This might be like one of the best things I've ever played. like by this episode and the next one, I've already done the homework for the next one as well. I got through both of those and I was like, man, is this game actually based and cool? Like it might actually be. Like this might actually whip ass.
I didn't go through the next episode's homework yet, but this what happens in this episode is super fucking cool. It's like super anime and hokey and stuff, but super good.
It's kind of great.
Yeah, it's really good.
I'm very embarrassed to admit that.
But also, we are the Every F and FF podcast. I'm Carl.
Allegedly. I'm Curtis.
I'm Alex. Thank you, Carl, for kind of keeping the lead this season.
Oh yeah, sure, no problem. I'm
keeping us on.
I got places
God
to
knows.
be.
I think we aren't on track.
He's the Vincent of the podcast.
I've got places to be. I've got rings to Elden. So I'm trying to be snappy about this. It was really fucking short-sighted of the developers of Dirge of Cerberus to put out a game that we would then be covering however many years later when Elden Ring came out, and now I have to spend some time playing this super fun.
Yeah, it was like 15 years ago that game was announced, so they should have known better.
Poor timing.
Yeah, the fucking assholes, dude. I am fully Elden pilled, as I'm sure everyone is not shocked by.
Carl is pilled. He'll just put pilled at the end of any word.
It's true. Only in circumstances where it works, though.
So while I do like Dirge of Cerberus now, like this episode is going to change my mind on it. I do like Dirge of Cerberus. However, I've also changed my mind on Yuffie. I don't like Yuffie anymore.
Oh, damn, really?
Every second she's on screen here is going to just nails into my brain. I hate it.
I think I'm just too Yuffie pilled to ever take the...
I thought that I was, and then I was like, no.
It's just what happens when you become like a teenager, you know, just like, fucking shut up, kid.
Yeah.
She's way more charming when she was 16 years old.
Yeah. Speaking of which, we before we get to the modern day, we have a couple flashbacks to get through, right?
Yeah, last episode we had just quickly been rescued from Rosso after getting our ball punched.
Yeah.
Or, I guess she yoinked our ball out.
She did yoink our ball out.
She just did a little tiny bit of ball torture on Vincent.
Now we're back to when Vincent was working as a Turk at the manor for Hojo and Lucrezia. And he is confronting Hojo. But this seems to be like a earlier confrontation about the experiments that they're doing on their child.
Yeah.
Sephiroth.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's
we don't know if that's actually they named him
Who's
that or
that?
not. That'd be who dat?
Who is Sephiroth? I don't think he was in this game.
Oh yeah, the Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, the guy from Lance Bass's. Is it Bass or Bass? I would assume it's Lance Bass, right?
I hope so.
Probably.
See, because my base pilled brain always goes to base. I'm just gonna have to say pilled on everything now that I've pointed that out.
You're gonna very much date this season just by how much you say pilled.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like you can date every one of our seasons.
Pilled is Carl's undulating. We all have like our one thing that we like to say.
Hey, there's a song on the soundtrack called Undulate. I was very excited.
Ooh, it's like it was written for us. Who could forget the season of every FNFF where we just kept saying, "Hey yo, it's that boy." Oh shit. Or you're the man now, dog.
But yeah, Vincent is confronting Hojo and Lucrezia. He's heard about the experiments that they're performing on unborn Sephiroth, and he's a little like
he's kind of confronting Hojo on behalf of Lucrezia. Is she on board with this? Like, are you taking advantage of her? And then she walks in and is like, yeah. Like, why are you surprised? Like this? And
yeah, it's really none of your business, kind of thing. You know.
Vincent asks a good question. He says, "But using your own child for an experiment?"
Yeah.
Ha! I don't know what you're implying, but both of us are scientists. We know what we are doing. You are the last person to have any word in this.
And fair enough to be fair.
Yeah. I mean, like, devoid of context of Hojo being just an absolute fucking monster. It's kind of just like, yeah, I mean, Vincent is kind of, if this is like the parents, like, but you can also see where Vincent's coming from, where it's like, hey, maybe you shouldn't be fucking injecting, or I'm going to use a different analogy just given how things are in 2022. But yeah, like he's like, don't, do fucking weird Shinra experiments on your child.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, you can't keep their Genova cells out of stuff. It's weird. I mean, I'm curious because I heard that in the Japanese dub, Hojo is a lot more likable, like which makes him and like Lucrezia getting together seem a little bit more plausible.
Oh, interesting.
Instead of him just sounding like the Green Goblin every time he talks.
Yeah. But Vincent says in monologue, he says, "All I did was watch, and I didn't even try to stop her." And then he has a little. It's still in the flashback, but he has a little vision of like Sephiroth burning down like, Nibelheim, right? So like kind of saying like, oh,
it was either him or Lucrezia kind of having visions of this future potentially as well, like that she can't really stop.
Yeah, I kind of thought like the way I guess I translated it was he knows that he didn't do anything to stop it, and then look what happened because he didn't stop it. You have all these people who were killed by Sephiroth.
Real Peter Parker looking at Uncle Ben dying on the pavement energy.
Right. This is where Vincent becomes Spider-Man.
I don't even think I really like piece that together in the original game that like Vincent's guilt isn't just from like letting Lucrezia die or like letting her get away. It was actually that he felt like responsible for Sephiroth's rise.
Yeah.
It's a lot deeper. Like, I mean, I don't know. It's kind of just all kind of hitting me now that we're talking about it. It's all hitting me at once. I'm like, oh yeah, damn. Like, I kind of don't blame him for sleeping in a coffin. Although, wait, he was in the coffin sleeping before all the Sephiroth shit.
Yes. Yeah.
So he's just like, okay, I have slept for 50 years. I have finally atoned for my sins. I can be a free man now. It's like, oh, that kid that I just let the thing happen. Oh, shit.
Oh, shit.
I would have just gone back to bed.
He summoned a what? What's a meteor? You got to remember, I'm from 50 years ago. I don't know what that is. What?
And then
Hold on, I'll send a telegram.
He also says like the best line in the game. As I was playing it, I had to like guess what he was going to say out loud. I was like, oh my God, if he says this, perfect game. He goes,
and this is my punishment.
Is that what he says in the original game too? Like, I feel like he must have said something like that. He says a lot of things about my sin and stuff like that.
Yeah, in the Japanese version of this game, I was looking at the scripts, and he says, "That was my sin, and this is my ject."
Yeah, this did come out after 10.
But yeah, I think
Nice.
the only other thing I kind of want to mention is I'm pretty sure that the image that they show of Sephiroth burning down like Nibelheim and stuff is just like directly from Advent Children, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
These lazy devs reusing assets, I can't believe it, dude.
Actually, I love all the like one-to-one models with Advent Children. Like having just watched
and
it
voices
recently,
as well. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
really nice.
yeah.
I mean, like they put all this money into making Advent Children. It's cool that there's like this companion game to it, even though it's this weird, goofy one. But like,
It's basically a sequel to Advent Children.
yeah.
It's cool. I like it a lot.
It'd be funny if they actually weren't even thinking about doing the game until like they like, man, Vincent, like all he got to do during the movie was just like save Cloud and then like get grilled for not having a phone.
But he has some more flashbacks and visions of Lucrezia. He does
More
some like
soliloquies.
some soliloquies that don't really have any content to them other than just being waxing poetic.
Him being sad in the Crystal Cave again.
Him being sad in the Crystal Cave.
Nothing really new there.
He hears Lucrezia say, "I'm sorry" again. So there's a lot of sorry. And then Vincent wakes up on a truck.
In one of those convoys that we've dabbled so much in with Reeve.
Yeah, with
Who's this?
the world's most annoying fucking
Moogle.
scene I've ever seen.
Yo, what if that's actually where she got the costume? Is actually just like Ket She's Moogle is like it broke, so just like
So she's just wearing the
just skinned
Moogle.
it.
But yeah, Yuffie's here.
Well, we don't know it's Yuffie yet.
Oh, we don't know it's Yuffie, please. No, go ahead.
Yeah.
Didn't recognize her with all her fashion.
People who had this as their entry into the series may not know it's Yuffie.
Her outfit is quite different. Yeah, he wakes up, he's confused, and he's like, "Who are you?" And she does this big, while wearing like the kind of hoodie, kind of cloaking her face. Does this whole like superhero monologue, like,
Well, I'm glad you asked. I am the champion of the earth and the sky. I am the conqueror of evil. The single white rose of Wutai. Yuffie Kisaragi.
and then basically she immediately just like slips and falls.
She just eats
and,
shit.
just bangs her head on the inside. Yeah, she's very Jar Jar Binks in this game.
She's very
Just
Jar
Extremely
Jar
Jar
Binks.
Jar.
Yeah.
She's constantly stepping in poop.
She tries to lick the beam between the pod racer and gets a numb tongue.
Yeah.
Her animations in this is quite good. Like I think, again, like the facial animation stuff, she's very animated. Even though the voice doesn't quite match with like what the body is doing, it's kind of creates this little disconnect. But it's very, I think, charming.
I agree.
Yeah, and I
agree.
kind of chalked that up too as well to when they made these models. You know, they were kind of doing it more in.
Doing dubs is hard because like it's a lot of just we need to like they're basically doing 1-to-1 sound file replacement, so they need to fit like the English dialogue into the space that they have to work with, and then it's like how do we make this work contextually but also make it like the flow?
Yeah. And also
natural.
just
it's a hard balance.
Like,
I wonder how much
while
of
I
it
should
too
say-
when the developers were doing it in the in Japanese, changing it to English and having to dub the faces completely different between languages.
Yeah. And like, I feel like while I should say that even though Yuffie's character annoys the piss out of me now, and I'm just like, oh, I wish you would stop talking at any moment, the voice acting is actually very good on Yuffie. Like,
Yeah, this is Mae Whitman again.
Oh yeah, I keep forgetting.
We know as Katara from Avatar, or Roxy from Scott Pilgrim, or
Yeah.
Anne from Arrested Development.
it's very, very well done. Like, I'm not hating on that at all. Like, that's very well done. But I'm just like, oh, so goofy. She stepped in the poodoo. Like,
I do like the dynamic where like Vincent's just like, hey man, it's been a while, and she's like kind of put back like, hey, why aren't you some more sympathetic towards me?
yeah. She's like, hey, I fell off a chair. Like,
She reveals it like, okay, I'm just helping out Reeve. I was just hanging out, I guess, at Nibelheim and found you at Shinra Manor. Don't ask any more questions.
She literally says she was poking around Nibelheim and found you looking all corpse-like. And actually, when she says that, she says corpse-like in Shinra Manor, and like really hits that raw real hard.
I think I've noticed
like,
that
I
they
really
do
like
that a
this.
lot.
It'd be funny if they said, and we found you looking all corpse-like again in Shinra Manor. Because
Yeah.
that's where we found him the first time.
I think that's another thing. Obviously, like when we were covering just the regular season, we called it Shinra, just because like the kind of English way of reading that. But I think like in the Japanese, it would kind of be Shinra. right?
Yeah, they say Sheen Ra in this whole.
Yeah, I think
I
in
just like
Advent
that she
Children
hits
as
that.
well.
They over-enunciate.
I like that she hits that Ra real hard though. She's like Shinra manner.
Oh yeah.
Like ooh.
She does say Wu Tai, like she puts the emphasis on Tai.
Yeah,
Wu Tai.
yeah, it's interesting.
Of Wu Tai.
She's just working on her like rap flow.
But yeah, she says, "Imagine that, me saving the great Vincent Valentine. Do I get any thanks?" And then he actually does say, "Thanks, Yuffie."
Yeah,
and
that's
she's
nice.
like, "Whoa! I didn't mean you to take me so seriously."
She's like kind of flustered about it. Yeah.
Yeah,
I do things to help people, and I do it for praise, but I hate receiving praise all the
yeah.
time.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to look at this with a more critical eye because again, I think Yuffie's awesome. So like, especially that moment where she's like bragging about herself so much, saying how great she is and stuff, and then she's like, "Oh, you don't even thank me, Vincent," because she's just kind of used to being like the butt of the joke, like the little sister and stuff. And then he's just like, "Thank you," like you said, and she's like, "Whoa, like." Yeah, I found that really endearing.
It kind of it fits with her character because she's always been like portrayed as the one who's like he's all big talk but like can't really deliver on the punches the whole time.
Yeah.
But she says that Reeve wanted them to call him once Vincent was up, right? So they do that pretty much immediately. And Reeve's like, "Oh, Vincent's come too. Well, excellent. I have some good news. Using you-know-who, I was able to infiltrate Midgar. However, what I saw wasn't the prettiest of pictures." And he kind of explains that he found Omega there, right?
Oh yeah, so you know who is being Ketchi, I guess.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
That's what he meant.
He who must not be named.
I'm like,
I think this is like them like we don't know how to pronounce this.
Well, they try in the next episode.
It's like an unreliable accent.
Yeah.
So who could say?
Speaking of voice actors, I actually did write down in my notes. I was like, Reeves' voice actor actually very good. Like,
yeah, definitely.
really like Reeves' performance.
Yeah, his I was listening through some files and even his Japanese voice is quite nice.
Yeah,
very full. He seems very mature. He's supposed to be kind of the adult figure, I guess, in this whole game. Even though he's kind of seems like the youngest member of Shinra in the original game.
Yeah.
But either way, he's analyzing the files we sent over from Omega. Not from Omega. I guess they were the Omega files, right?
Yeah.
And just saying, we'll meet you there over at WRO.
Yeah, and so they're heading over to WRO now because they need Vincent and Yuffie. And Yuffie has some more comedic scenes where she like just goes off on a weird tangent about how many like deep ground soldiers she could beat up, and like it doesn't even like. It's so ridiculous. It doesn't even subtitle it. Like the subtitles don't pick her up. But she's like, "Yeah, I could beat 5 of them up, or maybe like 4 of them in 5 minutes."
Just give me 3 minutes with those guys. No, make it 2. Well, maybe 3 or 4. Well, it really depends on how many there are. But I think if there was 5, I could probably take them in 2, or 2 in 5, or 3.
I know.
Yeah, I thought that was so funny. I loved that.
I was becoming enraged the longer it went on. I was like,
Vincent has so much patience. But then we're back over to WRO, back in the where Vincent woke up in WRO in the tube.
Yeah, but somebody else is in the tube now.
I hope they clean that.
Yeah, I imagine it's like a sensory deprivation tank where they have to drain it and clean it every time.
Yeah,
someone's got to come and like mop it up. I don't even know where the water. They like, "I'll let you out," and then it just all sloshes out, and they're always coming out perfectly dry. Again,
yeah.
This person is just standing in there because they probably just mocapped it and didn't really feel like, we could just mocap the top half and just have the bottom legs just kind of dangling and make it look like they're floating. But no, they're just standing. Anyway, it's Shulk. Shulk is in the tube now.
Shulk's in the Baja Blast.
Looking as Kingdom Hearts as ever.
Yeah, but she's able to get out of the tank, and she sees. So the room that they're in, there's only her and Shallua in it, right? Mm-hmm. And her weapons are just conveniently on the table right next to Shallua, which I was like, that's a bad oversight. like, especially if you're going to design the tank so that somebody can just get out of it at any given time and just be like, I don't feel like being in here anymore. To just put her weapons on the table.
With these knives next to me.
Yeah.
As I wait for the knife man to heal from his mortal wounds.
But yeah, so like Shulk sees everything. She sees this and picks up her weapons, and it wakes Shallua up, right?
Yeah. And then I think it's just like a quick cut to a very weird quick cut where it's just like, I guess you wouldn't really think much of it in like if it was a movie, but because of PS3 or PS2 loading times and stuff, it's just like you see 2 WRO soldiers just kind of like walking down a hallway, and then the screen goes black again, and it just shows Azul laying on the
This shot was very funny because they were doing kind of like a 180 fade because there's you see the two WRs walking and it crossfades from the other angle of the room. So this looks like they just continue walking because they're identical. It's just the mirror like, oh, what's the view from the other room? Like the only thing that's changed is that you can see a door now.
Yeah. And it shows him waking up, and then we're quick cut again back to Shalua and Shelk.
Oh yeah, he's on the pool table from that secret room.
Also, fucking another thing. Why would Azul's just by himself unrestrained?
Mm-hmm. I guess they figure this fine. Motherfucker. Like, there's no point dead? Restraining him.
I guess,
we all know.
Yeah, they just knew it wouldn't work, so they didn't even try. They're just like,
we tried nothing, and we're all out of ideas. They've wasted their belt budget because of Nomura.
Yeah,
they couldn't strap him down.
Yeah, they needed that for Shalua's outfit.
Yeah. Speaking of which, she wakes up and sees Shelk standing there, right, with her weapons.
You were a fool to let your enemy live. Now I'm going to kill you and return to deep ground.
All of Shelk's interactions just make it seem like she's never killed anyone, but wants to convince everyone she definitely has killed someone.
Yeah.
Dude, you don't have it in you.
And then Shalua turns on the become based switch and becomes extremely cool from here on out. Because like anytime up to this, I'm just like, Shalua, that's ridiculous. And now I'm like, no, actually, Shalua, incredible.
Now she found her reason to live, so now she's a lot more peppy.
Now she's a lot harder more peppy
to kill. And like kind of intimidating because like she says like, I don't think so. Like to her, she's like, no, you're not gonna kill me. And I was like, oh, you know what? Shalua probably is a fucking like cold-blooded killer. Like she's done.
We
some
have seen
shit.
her fight last episode or 2 episodes ago.
Yeah,
right?
we did.
Like, she's definitely seen some shit. She's definitely like had to fend for herself a bunch, and like I think that kind of also is why like it's easy to like clown on it a bit and just be like, oh yeah, like she just left her enemy essentially like the weapons there. But I think it's like a two-sided thing where she's like, one, it's my sister and I love her and I'm convinced that we can repair whatever, damage was done to her. And 2, there's no fucking way she's gonna kick my ass because I can kick the shit out of her if I need to.
Yeah, she tells her she's like, you've never been able to beat me in a fight. She actually says that before. She's like, there's no, even if you wanted to, you can't do it.
Then she does a fucking Clint Eastwood like, oh, how about it, punk?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. She says, how about it? You want to try your luck? But yeah, she lets her know. She's like, I'm not gonna let you kill me, and I'm not letting you go back to deep ground. And Shulk's like, yeah, I don't recall needing your permission to do anything.
It would be so funny if Shalua's like motivation in this was the same as Andy Samberg's motivation in Hot Rod, where he's just like, I'm gonna nurse you back to health so I can finally fucking kick your ass. I'm going to make sure that you get the life-saving surgery that you need so then I can fight you and beat you to death.
It's incredible.
We get a cutscene.
We get the wildest cutscene. It's like they've learned nothing. Like the WRO headquarters was just invaded like 2 chapters ago,
like 2 hours ago. I feel like you know what I mean. Like
it just happened.
We got over. Reeve is there, and once again, Deep Ground is under attack.
Well, we know that Reeve is the...
Deep Ground's not under attack.
WRO.
They're attacking.
We do know that WRO was founded by Reeves, so I'm pretty sure that's why they're just so fucking bumbling and constantly getting the shit kicked out of them, and just...
'Cause like he'll happily sacrifice it because he probably has another one.
Yeah, in On the Way to a Smile, there's like a conversation between him and Denzel where he talks about how like when WRO was just starting, he was totally cool with just like having child soldiers. He's like, there used to be a day where we would just accept children to be, a part of WRO. So,
but then FF8 took that, and we had to do something else.
Yeah, FF8 took it and made it based, not cringe.
FF8 brave enough to ask the question, child soldiers based, maybe? But yeah, Azul wakes up and he fucking smokes some dude. And then, like, there are just snipers in the hallway who just start, like, assassinating the WRO members. It's actually kind of brutal. Like, it's a little dumb because I'm like, how would they just get in again? Did nobody think to, like, start guarding this place? But it is kind of brutal, though. It has, like, a weight to it.
Yeah. Shalua says they're back, but why? Shulk says they were waiting for Azul.
Oh, and then I do want to say there is the greatest recorded scream while like the people are being shot and killed and shit like that. I think like
it's very funny.
Yeah, somebody tries to call Reeve over the intercom, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, Commissioner!" And he's like, "Yes, officer, what's going on?" And somebody's like,
Commissioner, we're being...
It's just fucking Tim the Toolman Taylor.
yeah, it's
Wilson.
Wilson. Like, it's the
I don't
best
know if he
scream
ever
I've ever
screamed
heard.
at Wilson like that. I kind of, I guess, just went more like Castaway with it, but
Yeah, when I heard it, I
point
was just
is,
like, "That's
dumb
incredible."
screams.
But Shulk says his death was merely a prologue to the true terror.
Yeah, which is so edgy.
She says this a lot. I've noticed through a lot of her dialogue, she always says the blank was merely a prologue, or like was just a warm up for the next thing.
Yeah, it's like
She just speaks like a From Software messaging system built in game.
she just points at animals and says, "Dog, try."
Try jumping.
This was merely try-finger butthole.
She just says perchance a lot.
You know, it is funny because like I think like the thing is, Shulk is supposed to be brainwashed, right? Like she's supposed to be like brainwashed and without feeling and everything.
Yeah.
But like what I like about her character, and I don't know like if this is intentional with like the directing or the voice acting or whatever, but she does very much come off as somebody who hasn't completely been brainwashed, trying to act as though they're brainwashed. Because like when she says all that
the
stuff,
2 episodes ago, she was like speaking from experience, like she was brainwashed, like, "Oh yes, I was brainwashed, all my mind is gone."
yeah, my mind and
I
my
waited for
feelings
so
are
long.
gone. And then every time somebody's like, "No, you're fine," she's like, "Am I fine?" No, I'm not fine. I'm definitely brainwashed.
It kind of reminds me, now that you're putting it that way, of what you would always say about Kane in the last season, where it's just like he was never fully committed to whatever mission he was on. He just kind of waited to see what everyone else in the game was doing.
Right,
So she's
yeah.
like, "I'm gonna kill you," and then like Shalula's like, "No, you're not, you fucking idiot." And she's just like, "Okay, I didn't ask you for permission." And she's like, "All right," like, and it's just like she's never fully committed.
Yeah.
She's
It kind
she's
of
doing
fits
the
into her character, actually. Now that I think of it, a few
It does.
scenes later, I think this kind of makes sense.
It kind of enhances it.
She actually might be the black sheep of Sviets. It turns out.
Yeah, well, we'll find that out in this
Yeah.
episode.
No, I think
Yeah,
she'll have a
so
nice
oh,
long
okay.
tenure there.
But yeah, so we're back on the. Almost said we're back on the highway. We're back on the.
Not yet.
Back in the Humvee. We basically just hear like, "Hey, we're almost to WRO," and then they immediately crash. Yuffie gets knocked out,
yeah, Yuffie's
And-
out cold.
and then we're in.
Yeah, we're
We're on the move.
We're on the move. We're immediately assaulted by 3
Sweepers.
sweepers. Yeah.
Wait,
And,
did
like,
we
I-
talk about the Reeves scene where he's on the thing and just immediately gets blasted by a rocket?
What?
Yeah.
I- Is that when he's on the foot? That's during the best scream of all time, right?
Yeah. So Reeve is kind of just like overseeing things and her.
That's right.
And,
yeah.
and he's just
yeah.
standing there and he's like, okay, like understood. Like he's getting a brief that like Deep Ground is like
That's
broken
right.
in and stuff. And he's
The
just
door is just
the door
open and a
opens,
rocket-
and one of those rocket dudes comes in and just fires a rocket into like the camera, and we just hear like Reeve scream, and I'm just like, well, he's probably dead.
We shouldn't have left that door open.
That scene is pretty brutal. I like it. Like it's kind of vicious.
Yeah, I mean, all of this is really like it's the graphics are of the time, so it's not like super over the top. Like it's very like stiff, but a lot of the shit like just
Yeah.
people getting like mowed down and just unsuspecting, just getting like shot at and stuff is pretty brutal.
Yeah. So when the vehicle crashes, the location that we're at is kind of like. I mean, we're outside. We're like in the forest or something, right?
Very snake eater. We're just like
Very
in
snake
the woods.
eater. Yeah. And like we're fighting like dogs and those like ostrich enemies from outside the fucking Chocobo Ranch at FF7.
Oh yeah.
Are they just ostriches?
I forgot what
Yeah.
they're called.
Oh yeah,
E something.
I forgot that those were enemies in one of the games. But
Yeah,
I just
yeah.
looked at it. I'm like,
the ones with the little? They have like the mitts. They have the little gloves on.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah,
remember
they're
seeing
here.
them this time around and being like, what is this, like the turkey version of a chocobo?
Yeah, they're called Epilanus or something.
Okay.
Like that.
Yeah. I remember it began with an E, but yeah, they're here, and we fight through a couple waves of enemies and kind of run through the forest. There's nothing
We kill
really.
those. The sweepers are surrounding the. I think the sweepers are what attack the truck.
Yes, yeah. There's 3 of them.
Yeah, we make through the hills. There's there's guard guardhounds. We meet a bizarre bug, which is just a beetle.
Yeah, like a scarab beetle.
So when we see the beetle for the first time, actually, it's like right after we enter like a little, maybe not a cave, but like
It's like a burrowed tunnel or
a little
something.
hill, yeah, a little tunnel. It's interesting. It's actually a pretty cool little section because you come into this cave and you fight some of these bugs. And on your right, there's a large drop off where you can see where you're going, and you can see that there is a base down there, right?
It's like it's in like a camp, like
Yeah.
deep ground camp.
Yeah.
There are explosive barrels all over the place, but I didn't see those explosive barrels, and so I sat there on that ledge and shot each and every one of them individually, and it took like 5 minutes. But
Same.
but
I was using my zoom rifle too.
Yeah,
I was,
yeah, me
I was
too.
taking so much damage because I was like hopping up. Like
me too.
It's like in Halo when you're in Blood Gulch and jumping to try and snipe someone and you just get headshot and you're like, shit.
Something I found that is actually very fun and quick to deal with them is that if you look across behind the base, there's a little tunnel where a burrow of those beetles are hiding, and if you shoot at them, like all of them will just come out and start attacking deep ground.
Oh wow!
Like 4 beetles alone took out like almost all the soldiers except for like 3 of them and the sweepers.
Wow! I had no
Yeah.
idea.
And so from the top, they can't climb or shoot. So I just like before I dropped down, I just took out the beetles and I went down. There was like only 3 guys left.
That's awesome.
When
I didn't get any credit for those kills, but
oh damn, really? That sucks.
I mean, probably not. I don't know. Maybe it does. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
feel
sure.
like I don't-
If they die, it just count as a death and not actually as you doing the death.
That's what I would
Yeah.
imagine. But yeah, I noticed that too because right before, like when we get to that little ledge, there is like 1 deep ground soldier, or 1 or 2, and there's a couple of those beetles. So I just ran in guns ablazing, but I was only hitting the scarab beetles, and then I noticed that they were like attacking the deep ground guy. I was like, oh, let me see how this shakes out real quick. And I just like walked backwards, and like one of them started chasing me, and then turned around and went back to fight the deep ground guy. I'm like, hell yeah.
That's cool. But yeah, after we pass this, we immediately come across, I would say, the far side of the bridge that leads to WRO headquarters. Right?
Yeah.
We're in
Yeah.
this big open clearing, and we get a new objective, which is to help basically assist the WRO
Yeah.
combatants. And thus begins a big old helicopter shooting minigame.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my god.
So the helicopter shooting
Does it
minigame
ever?
didn't mind it so much, but the amount of helicopters they want you to shoot down is 15. And I was, as soon as I saw the number pop up, I was like, oh, we're gonna be here forever.
Yeah.
That's a lot of ammo you're using if you're not using the Gatling gun that's on. Or
There are
whatever
3
machine
Gatling
gun
guns,
turret.
yeah, on the ground.
There's
So-
Gatling guns on the. God damn it!
Yep.
The first thing I did, I was like, I'm low on potions. I'm low on like ammo. I wasn't low on ammo, but I was like, I don't want to just be shooting at all this stuff. I was like, I got 3 limit breakers. Let me go to town on these guys with limit breakers. And my fireballs were doing nothing. I like did not understand the mission that it just threw me into, and I just kept missing all of the helicopters.
Sometimes you just miss them. There are like, there are sometimes doing passovers from like, I think it's from like 4 cardinal directions they'll be approaching this
Yeah.
clearing. But they'll be like shooting missiles, or sometimes they'll be just going straight for WR base, so you kind of have to shoot them out of the sky.
Yeah.
I found that the rifle works pretty well because they are kind of far up.
They
I
can
did
just
not
shoot
find
right
out-
at you too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't find out until very like late in the chopper cycle that like the one gun that I could use was actually really, really effective. And I was like, well, I
Really?
should have been using that from the beginning. And instead, I definitely failed this mission and probably had a lot of my friends die.
I started noticing in the equip like customization menu that certain weapons, they do have a fall, like the rifle has is weaker damage at close quarters but longer if you have a certain
Oh wow.
spec'd out. So I noticed like, okay, like the rifle is actually less effective in close quarters, which doesn't make sense because it feels like a fucking shotgun.
Yeah.
That's why like the Cerberus is can be very balanced, works, or the Cerberus is really good for close quarters usually. Like you'll see that short range it has more damage than long range.
The Cerberus is my favorite weapon.
Oh, yeah.
I've run out of ammo for it all the time though.
And I think is the Griffin the one with the machine gun?
Yeah, I
think
think
so, yeah.
That one's like the same. It's the same in all 3 like
Ranges.
short, medium, and long distance. It's like it's always the most balanced, I think, but is like the least accurate.
So I think the thing with the Cerberus that I didn't notice until Shadam mentioned it to me was when you're using that, it actually uses 3 bullets at a time, whereas in the Japanese
Yeah.
version it only used 1 bullet. But like interesting change. Like it makes sense.
that means it has to have 3 hammers.
Yeah,
But it doesn't.
It makes sense in that the gun has 3 barrels, but at the same time, it's like other guns that Vincent uses, which I believe also have 3 barrels. just
Only
only use
do the
one.
one shot.
Yeah.
I mean, they're interchangeable, so yeah.
yeah. Who knows?
How did you all do with the chopper?
I did not
I did
do
all
well.
right.
I did not do well.
okay.
I missed 2 of them. Oh yeah, and then like, of course, the final one, as it's crashing, 3 heavy armed soldiers will just jump out
Yeah, attack
and
you.
charge you
Yep.
with their rocket launchers and stuff.
Like when they all charged me, they all had rocket launchers, but they all ran right up to the turret that I was on, and just kind of allowed me to go one by one, rotating around. They were all like kind of like falling over each other and couldn't like one's AI would be like, I'm gonna attack Vincent, but they would be in the back of all these soldiers, and so they would be unable to. It was very interesting.
A lot of WROs died. I was relying on them to tell me where the helicopters were coming from, because they'll just like immediately swivel and face the direction
Yeah,
they're coming
yeah.
from.
I'm
nice.
trying to see the time between when I first got the thing saying like destroy the helicopters and the first time I destroyed a helicopter, and I'm pretty sure it's like 2.5 minutes. Like I was able to take down 5 of them because it was for 2 straight minutes of me running around like a dullard trying to figure out what I was supposed to do, and then finally like
awesome.
I was taking one down. I'm like, oh, that's how you do it.
Yeah,
Now that's how you do
If
it.
I do it again, I'll probably be a lot better at it. But
yeah, yeah.
Woo.
And then we are allowed to start crossing that bridge, right?
Yeah, so there's 3, I think, checkpoints.
I love this section.
It's pretty cool. I was like, it feels like a war zone. You're kind of fighting your way across this bridge through different checkpoints, and as you go through a checkpoint, you have to kind of go through a narrow corridor into the next section, which I think is just like the system way of like loading the next area. Is if it has you go through a corridor, it's unloading the last area you went to and loading
maybe.
the next area.
Yeah.
It's just a way to hide because it's a long bridge. So
Yeah,
we'll have to wait for
can't
the
render all at
boundary
once.
break episode on Dirge of Cerberus
Yeah.
to get the full answer to that.
So in between each of those little corridors, like you're saying, is like a little war zone, right? Where you're actually out in the open and you're fighting amongst like turned over trucks and like shipping containers and stuff like that. So people are popping around all sides, and there are snipers up on like the parapets or whatever, like like the little
the in between parts.
yeah, like the little oversight bridges. And so you're kind of like taking it from all sides, and you kind of have to use your tools that you have at this point. And I think that's why I like this section so much, is because it felt like the first little test of the game of like, do you know how to use these weapons? Like, can you do this? Have you figured all this out by now?
Yeah,
and so
it's
I like
definitely,
that. Yeah.
expecting you to know. Yeah, I was taking a shit ton of damage here, and I was just like, I know that my score is going to be
Did
bad.
you see the one cactuar?
I did not.
When you pass the first checkpoint, if you look at the top of the very, very top of like the beacon antenna on the the east side of the
Wow.
map, there'll be one cactuar just like doing a little boogie up there.
Did
Oh,
you
and he's
shoot him?
dancing too?
Yeah, he's dancing.
that's
I sent you a little
Did,
video.
did you shoot him?
Yeah, I shot him. And he does. It takes a really long time for him to die. He like spins around and then falls. over.
You monster. I
awesome.
can't believe you shot him.
There really should have been I was hoping there would have been an achievement at the end, like one cactuar.
Well, if you like shooting cactuars, just get ready for a Final Fantasy X-2 season. I'm gonna be capping those motherfuckers.
How did you do in the second corridor when we were crossing? Because that's when there's like WRO and Deep Ground shooting each other. Well, there's like
All
explosive
right.
barrels everywhere.
There's a bunch of explosive barrels everywhere, and I got down there, and immediately one of the WRO members died, and I was like, well, they're gonna get smoked either way. I should just go ahead and shoot this barrel. And so I just shot the barrel and lit them all up.
It's very close quarters, so it's very easy to accidentally kill WRO members in there.
See-
I played the section twice, once to like make sure like there's a cactuar there, and the second time like I got to make sure these guys survive. I'm going in there. You'll hear WRO say "damn it," and like that'll be like your cue to run in and like
Yeah.
take out like the 2 deep ground guys in there. As Shademp has mentioned that enemies cannot blow up the barrels, only you can, so you don't have to worry about them shooting the barrels.
Gotcha.
Oh, interesting.
You can just take cover if you want from behind them.
Yeah, what I did was I immediately ran in and saw the barrel and shot it, and I was like, oh no. I was like, I killed the WRO guy, and I also did damage to myself, and I was ready to be like, well, that's what that guy gets for standing so close to an explosive barrel, and I was like, I really can't fault him for that. Like, this is definitely on me. I also got blown up by that barrel. I just had enough HP to not die from it.
But yeah, we crossed the bridge. We're about to enter kind of the hangar. I guess it's not really the hangar. I guess it's kind of a tunnel leading into the plaza out front of WRO,
Yeah,
which is
yeah.
where we saw like all the soldiers, kind of the deep ground soldiers storming
Yeah.
WRO a few episodes ago. And we start hearing like radio chatter of people getting attacked by something.
This is headquarters. We need backup. Get away! What is that thing?
And stuff. And you're hearing a roar and something like something fucking is getting let loose.
And I thought it was Azul, right? I was like, oh, that must be what they're talking about. But it turns out it's not. But I like this little lobby area. I thought it was kind of neat. It's different from the rest of the areas we've been to, but it is like this like grand outside foyer, right? To the
it's like a Half-Life. It's like a Halo 2 stage.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, it's funny that you said Half-Life because this game starts to remind me of Half-Life like a little bit.
But the design of this plaza, because it is like you can tell it's kind of a like receiving area because there's like ornate kind of waterfall and like planters everywhere, not like and our decorative walls and stuff with water flowing down it. And
so there's like 10 tiny decorative waterfalls, like 5 or so on each side, right? And one of them does not have a waterfall and has a Mako checkpoint or Mako point instead. And I was like,
oh damn, really?
Trying to hide from me.
Oh wait, no, I see that now. I'm also watching back my my videos. I didn't notice the correlation to the waterfalls. I did, however, think like, okay, there's waterfalls in this video game, and the developers did not put a cool treasure chest behind it, so that's kind of fucked up.
What the fuck?
Worst game.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's like people above on the kind of arch section above where like there are people shooting from above.
Yeah.
And as we reach the top of the steps, we enter another kind of mini boss fight with another Black Widow.
Mm-hmm. Black Widow 2.
I'm very curious how Black Widow 2 went for you all because I don't know that mine went the way it's supposed to. So.
Oh really?
How was this fight for you all?
It was fine for me.
bad.
I was a little nervous because I was low on resources, and I was like, okay, well, what I can probably do is just chain kill the 4 guys around them. There's also like some boxes and stuff I can try and get more damage output onto the Black Widow. And then by the time I was doing that, I had already like shot the Black Widow a couple of times with like the lightning materia, which I think I only had at like level 1, and it did a ton of damage. So like, I had no problem.
I think this is definitely a weaker version of the Black Widow.
Okay.
Yeah, I was expecting a more powerful one.
Yeah,
and
so
then
was
I was
I.
just like, oh, okay. I will say though, the cannon that it uses, like the railgun or whatever, like the laser beam, like that fucked me up quite a bit.
There is a turret also if you feel like running over onto one of the top catwalk.
You know what?
Just take it out.
I'm so mad because I wanted to go around and look at the catwalks and stuff like that and see where like these guys were shooting down on us from before. But you enter the scene with the boss like as soon as you walk up those stairs, and there's not like room to go around and do it. And I was like, son of a bitch.
Yeah,
well,
and
maybe
then as soon as you beat the boss, I think it kicks you into like the next area.
It does. It immediately kicks you to the next section.
I found out you actually can. I thought about this the second time I walked through. Like, okay, where's the trigger? And actually, there is a wall, a kind of invisible wall that triggers the cutscene, so you can actually like side and explore before you trigger it.
Is there enough room? Because I tried to not go too close to it because I saw that there were like boxes beside the entrance, and I was like, well, I want to go get those. So I aimed for those, and as I was walking toward it, I hit the event box, and I was like, what? I wasn't even near the fucking door. So it's real wide. That box must be huge.
I did the same thing, and I remember like one of the first things I saw up on where like the overhangs and stuff was an item that I could get, and I was like, oh shit, like I want to get that. And honestly, it was probably just like a limit breaker or like ammo or something. But I was like, leaving stuff behind. It's like when you have one coin that you didn't grab in Super Mario 64, and you're like, shit.
Yeah, so this boss took 4 shots for me.
Yeah.
Which is why I was so confused, because I was like, oh shit. And so I just started hitting, the fire button, and Vincent just critted every single shot for like 1,500 damage. And he just went 1, 2, 3, 4, and it was over.
Because he's assisted by Deep Crown Soldier, I bet you could like build a chain really easily and get him down in one shot if you really
maybe.
wanted to.
Yeah, I'm sure. That was like initially my strategy, which just completely unraveled, and I was just kind of firing like blindly, and still did kind of the same thing, though it didn't really take a whole lot of shooting at him to get him down.
Like, it was weird because like this boss took less shots than like the dog creatures take. So I was just like, what?
Yeah.
I was having such a fun time the second time through because I know I did a kind of story walkthrough first, kind of scouting ahead with like a little bit of cheats enabled.
Yeah.
And I just started practicing mealing missiles from.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
So Black Widow can shoot missiles, and if you time it like right when it's like entering the that kind of warning compass that you have around your around your character that tells you where shots are coming from. Right when it like enters that perimeter, you can just melee you can just punch and deflect the missiles away. It's very fun.
That's
awesome.
super cool.
Got to get good at it.
But that automatically takes us into the next section, right?
Yeah, into the blasted doors that we saw Azul bust down last time we were here.
Would you all like to take a break before we get to this section?
I would like to take a break.
I'm gonna break that Black Widow because it's so weak.
It's very fragile.
Yeah. All right. See ya. So we're inside WRO, and this is actually kind of a cool sequence because when we first showed up at WRO, we first started gameplay in the atrium, and now we're actually at the like door that we saw Azul.
Yeah,
we actually walked through and kind of clamber through the all the blast doors that Azul just completely knocked through.
I am gonna say that I know that last episode or the episode before it, I described this game as being like maddening and like. It's either great and I hate it or it's terrible and I love it. Starting at exactly this hallway, everything that I've played for the next like 2 or 3 chapters is fucking incredible and cool and fun. And I was just like, oh, okay, you just have to get this far into the game and then it becomes fucking sick. Like, I really like this section of game. Like, I feel like the music is really good here. It's very like it works for the event that's happening.
I think, and here they kind of reuse the song from the first time we came to WRO with I think you called it a jazz oboe or something, Curtis.
The sneaky oboe, yeah. It's the Splinter Cell music. I think it starts as soon as we hit the plaza.
Yeah, which is really good. But then the music changes again to more, thematically fitting with the fact that like this place is like fallen.
And the way they've like done the corridors now is very interesting too, because like those doors that have been blown up that are like laying everywhere, they kind of provide cover for the enemy to hide behind. So I was like, it's not just part of the story, it's actually part of the gameplay as well. That's incredible. Like, I really like this scene. And there's like atmospheric effects. There's like fog and dust and shit flying around. So like it looks really impressive. It's very, very good section of the game.
And then when you pass through the final blast door, you realize like you're in the atrium and everything is completely like destroyed in it. It's like, oh, this is a really cool reveal. Like you realize where you are again, even though it's within the same game.
It's awesome. It's so cool.
Yeah, there's WRO soldiers taking out deep ground soldiers, and the atrium, which is now like collapsing. It looks like it's been bombed completely.
Yeah,
probably by choppers and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's
there's not too many enemies in here. There is a little magic pad behind some of the rubble on the left.
There is.
If you don't want to miss that. The jukebox is gone, unfortunately.
Dang,
sad.
Those monsters took it.
They just ran. The elevator has fallen.
Yeah.
It's raining men. That. Yeah, well, not no more. It's not.
Yeah, not no more. It ain't. Hit Smithers in the face.
Yeah.
But yeah, we advanced back through the tunnel towards, I guess, the lab that we went through to fight Azul and Shulk last time we were here.
Yeah. And then the Taurus demon shows up. It's fucking sick.
Yeah, it's fucking it's the fucking unlockable Bowser from Melee.
Oh yeah,
that's
dude.
right. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Giga Bowser. Yeah.
It's Giga Bowser.
So when I saw it, I was like, oh shit, they got their hands on a behemoth and just like let it loose. Like that's pretty nuts. That's pretty cool.
It is kind of behemoth, but it has armor on it.
Yeah, and then like when I found out what it actually is, I was like, oh, that's also pretty fucking cool.
But yeah, there's a massive beast just rampaging through the hallways and just murdering the shit out of people. People are like screaming and trying to run away from it to no avail.
Yeah.
And Vincent even like says to himself, what the hell? And then from behind him, he sees that Shulk and Shalou are there, and Shulk says, oh, it's Azul. Like, he's turned into this beast.
Yeah. It's also extremely funny because there's a super badass scene of 2 of the WRO soldiers like backing up and shooting, classic cool guy action movie kind of shit, like blah, blah, blah. And they're like they're trying to take this thing down, and then another one like just gets whipped by the behemoth Azul, and it just goes flying. And I saw him flying, and I was like, please tell me this is gonna happen, like what I think is gonna happen. Please tell me that's gonna happen. And he just, like the guy just lands on both of them and knocks them over, and I was like, that fucking rules. It's so good.
It's very good.
It's me and Alex firing at
Ben
Shapiro's podcast, and then
What I like is when Shallua and Shulk show up, I think we see Shulk's low poly model for the first time, which just reminds me of Smudge the cat from the lady yelling at a cat eating salad. This is she looks a little more grumpy.
She does. That's awesome. I didn't even notice that.
I love it. You don't see her low poly model very often.
That's awesome.
Love a low poly.
So Azul, as this beast, charges all three of them, right? Vincent tries to shoot it to no avail. It's armored. And it knocks everybody aside. It's just Shallua tries to attack, and it like straight up whips Shallua away, right?
Mm-hmm.
They really dwell on her like being hurt. Like it feels very kind of
mortal.
Yeah,
like
it feels like
wound.
This is not too anime. It feels very like she's like heaving, like she acting like she actually got fucking punched by a fucking dragon.
She is in second form now though, because she does not have her lab coat anymore. So she's like,
oh right.
She has tactically taken off her lab coat so that she could get more iframes with her dodge roll, which does not work against this boss. She does a cool like jump attack move and goes to like, I don't know, like do like the fucking like Hulk Hogan like elbow drop thing, and then just immediately gets batted away. And then it's pretty when like you were saying, Curtis, when Vincent gets hit, it's actually kind of funny because he just gets like smacked and like flips backwards a little bit.
No, that's a really good one because like when he flips back, it's not even like a big flip. It's like you or I would do.
I think Alex was talking about that same sort of animation earlier where it's like you can kind of tell it was like mo-capped, but they didn't like you know, when they were jumping onto the padding behind them, there was kind of just like first take like dipping their toes into it, and then they're just like, we don't need to do more, that's fine.
They probably didn't have a whole sound stage. It probably like make sure you don't knock over the cameras when we're doing it. We only have the one.
But yeah, so Shulk's able to pull out a materia, right?
It looks like the same orange one that she uses for her power, right?
Yeah, maybe, yeah. I couldn't tell if it was that one or
her eyes are
one.
glowing, so I figured it's kind of
it's
something connected there. I'm not sure what exactly that one.
But it like paralyzes Azul, and then he's forced to revert back to being a human-ish creature.
It's a shield materia, she says.
The extreme potency of this shield materia is comparable to that of your barrier field, Azul.
I'm not really sure how that works.
Hey, shield and barrier were in fact two materias in FF7.
Yeah, that's true.
So she just like holds it up and like you like none shall pass kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, you're stuck, buddy. You can't keep going.
I maybe she just did like a reverse phase kind of thing, like the frequency of her shield versus his shield kind of cancel one another out.
Oh yeah.
But he says, Shulk, why do you stand in my way? And she's like,
he de-transforms, right?
Yeah. And she says, I had to protect myself. You were trying to kill me. And he just like thinks about it for a second. And he goes, oh, then now is the time. And then he attacks her again. And like Shulk's like kind of like surprised, right? She's like, yeah, what the fuck are you doing? Like, stop it. You're not in beast form anymore. And Azul says, you're no longer required. And like she's like surprised by it. He says,
you're no different from the others. Your weak body is nothing without Mako. Your only skill is collecting data from inside a virtual reality.
All you can do is tweet.
He's jacked in.
Yeah.
You're too online.
It makes me sick to even think of you as a member of the Sviets. Vice has ordered your termination. And I was like, oh my goodness. So like the deep ground has turned on Shulk, and now like she's lived out her usage and is to be destroyed.
Shulk has gone full like AV Club nerd with her hacking. It's a Unix system. She knows this. And Azul has gone full jock mode, and he's just like, I fucking hate nerds. I'm gonna kick your ass.
But yeah, he tells her only mission was to identify and locate the keeper of the proto-materia.
Done.
And then says, that's why we uploaded the doctor's data into your neural network. And I have taken a note of every time somebody says neural network for the next 3 chapters. And it's a lot, by the way.
He says neural network.
Curtis is getting Google alerts anytime neural network is used. And it's all just fucking bullshit. Elon Musk. 10 more apes dead at Elon Musk's hand. All his apes gone.
I fed an AI all of Lucretia's thesis, and this is what it wrote.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. He actually has what I thought was a pretty cool line where he says, your fate has been decided, Shulk. It's time for you to return to the planet. And I was like, ooh, that's good. I like that.
Nice.
Time for you to get in the urn.
Yeah. But she's able to use that same materia on him. Like, he goes to attack her again, and she just uses the same materia and paralyzes him again. And I was just like, oh, okay, based. Yeah. Owned. How embarrassing for you. And then there's an incredible scene. What is happening here? This is amazing.
As Azul is stunned, Shalua grabs Shulk's hand and they start running. The scene's a little confusing because keep note that Shalua is the one who has opened the door.
Yeah, so there's a large, like...
She's the one who hits a keypad and in control of this door.
There's like a blast door or an armored door that they open that they're going to try to get away from Azul with, right?
I think it's into the room that we fought Shulk in.
It may
the
be.
first time.
Yeah.
I'm rewatching the scene now, and just like Shalua is kind of struggling with Shulk to try and help her through this room. Vincent is just full fucking George Costanza in a fire situation. He's pushing old ladies out of the way and stuff. He just guns it and goes directly into the room, like without a second thought.
Yeah.
All right, bye.
But like, Shulk's kind of like resisting against Shalua, right? And she even yells at her and is like, "Let go of me." And she says, "I don't think so. We have 10 years to catch up on. I'm not allowing this to end here." And so she's trying to like force Shulk through that door, right? And Shulk doesn't want to go. Shulk, I guess she still feels like she's part of like deep ground or whatever. And so her place is on this side with Azul, even though Azul's trying to kill her now.
Shalua is trying to heal things with Shulk, and Shulk's trying to heal things with the Sviets.
Yeah. Shalua kind of overpowers her in a way and kind of forces her through the door.
Well, not quite yet.
Yeah, because the door starts to close.
Yeah, right.
And
as they're having that conversation where they're like, "Yeah, you need to go." "No, I don't want to go." The door begins closing.
So Shalua makes sure to stop it by putting her prosthetic robot arm in there, and like it's slowly being crushed. But like she's able to.
She could have just stopped and just hit the pad again.
Yeah, I mean,
she could have just reached over like, well, it took me 1 second to open this thing. I can do it again.
My take on it was
we also see while the door is closing that Azul is no longer paralyzed, right? And he like reverts back to his beast form.
Yeah, and my take on it was that these are like blast doors, and obviously there's a lot of destruction happening, so it might not be easy to just reopen.
Yeah,
the animation of her arm kind of crumbling is very cool.
Yeah,
it's very nice. There's a lot of like stretch and squash of the image. I thought maybe we get some more, but it's kind of brutal though. Like as the door closes on her forearm or whatever, and her like mechanical forearm starts to rip apart, it's kind of vicious. I was like, ugh. Like,
things are springing off, wires are fraying, it's sparking. There is a little bit of like squashing, but when it first starts to buckle, it's actually quite cool. Like,
yeah,
like little piece of, but yeah, she is like doing the whole thing of Spock behind the glass and saying, "You'll always be my friend."
Yeah,
she's doing a real Star Trek 2, the Wrath of Khan moment.
Vincent is also noticeably trying to open the door as well. He's just got both of his.
Poor Vincent.
I'm like,
he should have just put his shoe in there.
I'm like, Vincent, why don't you? Yeah, your shoe, or why don't you put your possibly mechanical like golden arm in there as well?
You can put a gun in there, and that
it's a lot longer. I'm sure. Like you can make a little more room.
But yeah, so like I said, Shalua forces Shulk through that door during that, and so while she's delivering this information, Shulk is on the safe side of the door, away from Azul. And Shalua gives like a little monologue where she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry for everything. I'm sorry I let you suffer for so long.
Sorry, I'm such a piece of shit.
Sorry
that I only wanted to help you."
She asks Vincent to take care of Shulk.
Shulk, I'm glad I was able to find you. And remember, I'll always love you.
And the door just fucking closes on her arm, fucking destroying her arm, right?
Yeah.
Just in time to see Azul as the fucking beast roll right up on Shalua, right?
Yeah.
Like he gets
is
right
he the beast
to her.
at this time, or is he just a normal Azul human form?
Oh, I thought he became the beast. Maybe not.
I think we see just a fist come through.
I thought he was just regular type Azul.
Oh, okay.
But we do
type.
have like a big slam, and then
we see like a single frame of Azul's fist, right? I mean, it's like a couple frames, but like we see Azul doing a humongous punch, and we just hear like this loudest bang, and I was like, oh shit, Shalua has been turned into gravy. She is she is human spaghetti sauce. Like after that, that's not good.
Which they also like to show we can only see on the side of the door that Vincent.
Can we
and
talk
Shulk are
about
on.
this?
Yes.
What is this liquid?
What is this? I was like,
don't. There's only one answer for it, and it's the most obvious one. But
so after we see this big slam, we see Shulk and Vincent stand there for a moment, shocked because we
actually hear two slams. We hear one slam.
Yeah, there's the initial one and then a second one, and then underneath the door we see this mystery liquid come flowing.
This mystery yellow liquid.
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, who pissing?
Yeah, someone's pissing.
Someone's pissing. It's
My
straight
theory-
up piss.
I was like, wait, what is is this one of those things?
It has
where,
to be hydraulic fluid for like.
Yeah, I was
That's what I'm
thinking it's
guessing.
got to be like
machine.
gasoline or
It's arm juice.
It's orange
It's their
juice. It
orange
has
juice.
to be. But it looks straight up like piss. And I was like, oh yeah, I have heard that when you're killed, you evacuate your bowels. I guess Shalou is dead.
Yeah.
And she
very
just
confusing. Very.
she just shat and pissed.
Because if it was red, obviously you'd be like, oh, okay, that's like.
Right.
My first thought was like, did the ESRB or whatever like? Have
I
to
was
tell them
wondering.
to like. Oh, that can't be red because that's too violent. Like,
I was
it has
wondering.
to
I wondered if that
be-
was the case.
It's less violent when it's piss. It's the
Yeah, it can't
the,
be blood. Make it piss.
the South Park video game where you get a buff to your snowballs when you piss
Run
on
out of
them.
humors.
It's kind of incredible, honestly.
But Shulk is equally baffled as we are, confused. Like, why did she do that? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and she says it with a very like.
That was illogical of you.
Yeah, she says it very dryly too, and I think that's a cool thing about Shulk in like this episode and the next
You're
episode.
learning that she is kind of part computer, so she is very kind of. She's lost some of her humanity.
She's a little
Or maybe-
dehumanized, yeah. And so like she's not like, oh,
She is-
why would you do that? She's just like, yo, why did that just happen? Like that was fucking insane. Did you see that shit?
She has-
Like-
She's effectively dehumanized herself and faced to
Face
piss
too
shed.
Yeah. This game rules now.
That is where we get our chapter ranking and all that, like right
Is
after
it right
that
there?
piss scene. Yeah, if we want to talk about that. But we'll probably go on and talk more about like, the follow-up cutscene to
yeah.
that.
Yeah, how did y'all do?
Well.
Not good.
Yeah, I still got a B after everything. I was kind of disappointed in that. I was like, what? Come on. I did good. I did a good job. Fuck you.
I got a B as well.
I got a B
Yeah.
as well, which is, I mean, the top that we can hope for because of the cool B emoji.
That's right. Exactly.
Let's see.
I-
Accuracy 55.
Oh, my accuracy rate was not good, boys.
12. It might be higher up because I had already played through the section, so I kind of predict where some of the enemies were going to be.
My accuracy was in
Sorry.
the 30, boys.
Yeah, I was 37. Nice. I was,
Okay,
I was
yeah.
at the top of the pack.
I'm sure a lot of that was the helicopter shooting, just
It may have
like
been.
blasting.
Yeah. So anyway, I came out blasting.
I got 12 choppers. I saved 8 out of 12 WR members.
I also got 12 choppers.
What was your damage sustained, guys? If you have it in front of you, because mine, I had 12,000 damage.
Oh, okay. I was getting ready to be ashamed, but now I'm not. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Well, I also game overed in this section. I don't think I mentioned it was
Oh,
like
okay.
the last tunnel that we were on our way through.
Yeah.
Where there was like a couple of soldiers shooting at us, and there was like one of those dog enemies. I totally game overed there because I saw my health, and I was like, I need to heal immediately, and I was like cycling through, trying to find I was like, I need to use the limit breaker so that I don't die.
Oh,
I was trying to
yeah.
get to it because I was out of
I understand.
potions, and then
You're
I just
too Elton pilled and kept trying to use the item button.
yeah.
but-
I for some reason I
Where
kept hitting
I have
triangle.
flask. Come on.
I kept trying to use triangle to use a blood vial.
I actually
Yeah.
should mention when we were on the bridge section, when we were crossing that, every little section I would run back to the jukebox and buy 2 more high potions.
That's
So,
really,
I
really
was-
smart, dude. $300 for a high potion.
Not bad.
After
not bad.
this chapter, I'm like, damn, that's a steal.
Yeah.
Have you all used the red potion much?
Yeah, and I'm confused by
A little
it.
bit. Is it random?
I think it's just a random amount of health.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Okay, that makes more sense because I used it and I was like paying attention to it. I was like, oh, this just does the same exact thing as a high potion, but I think it probably just
It's a
rolled
luck
the
of the
same.
draw.
Yeah.
I had to use my elixir this time, so I finally had to do that. I ran out of healing items. I was out by the end.
Yeah,
so
this is I feel like the difficulty definitely spikes up in this section where it's just like
Yeah.
like you were saying, Curtis, it's kind of nice. It almost feels like the first 5 chapters were sort of like a slow burning tutorial, and then this one they're just like, okay, you've been doing shit long enough. You know the different combinations, you know the different kind of enemy groups and stuff. So here you go, have fun.
I feel like that feeling is even further amplified with like the next chapter. The next chapter makes me feel like it and these first 6 are the like long ass tutorial for the actual game that's getting ready to happen.
Just wait until you get enemies that can't be killed with bullets.
Damn.
I don't like it.
Just like me.
This game's all about bullets.
Just like me. Anyone willing to try? Where I live.
But yeah, I got a B total.
We don't know where Azul goes.
I imagine he's just trapped in WRO and takes it over.
Oh yeah,
our next. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna just say, let me see what my piss poor ranking was. So yeah,
piss percent.
I had a solid C across the board for the choppers and the WRO members, in that I got 5 out of 15 destroyed of the choppers and 5 members out of 12 saved. So hey, C's get degrees.
C's get degrees, baby. Yeah, I only got A on targets destroyed, kill chains, and Mako.
Yeah, my kill chain was like 86, which is nice.
Oh, I guess I got an S on magic casted. There was that. Fun.
I got an S on times KO'd.
Yeah.
0.
I got an A on that. Damn, getting KO'd once is an A somehow.
Sorry.
Oh no, that's fine. I'm pretty shocked.
My condolences.
Sorry for your A.
Yeah, so like you're saying, there's another scene after this, right?
I was about to say, I don't know where Azul is, because the next thing we know, we're in WRO's. I think we're in Reeves' office.
Yeah.
Which is weird, because like, okay, so Azul's just hanging out downstairs and we're just hanging out upstairs.
I imagine we got enough blast doors between us.
And it's even more confusing because the last time we saw Reeve, he was getting a face full of fucking rocket.
It was probably just Ketchi again.
yeah. Just
in Reeve's body.
The stupid, swirly, like, dizzy face eyeballs. Like
He explodes like a crash test dummy. He just
He does start off by saying that he's so ashamed. I'm like, good, you fucking should be. I've been
I like
waiting
the scene that we
7 goddamn years for you to say that, asshole.
Like when we walk in too, it's like the fighting where he is over. So he's just kind of like on the floor, slumped against one of the consoles, and just like having a moment, right? Like he's having a after a long week at work moment.
He's sitting at the thing like
I'm getting too old for this shit.
He's sitting like the crestfallen warrior in Firelink Shrine.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm not going to ring those bells of awakening. Fuck that shit. This shit sucks.
He says, and every time they say this, I write this down too. I'm supposed to be a hero of the Genova War. And I was like, Genova War? Stop it.
Yeah. At least they're not like, hey.
Was it a war?
Was it a war? Who are the two sides of the Genova War?
Yeah, exactly.
Avalanche and capitalism?
Yeah, like Avalanche and Shinra, I guess. But like, at least they're not saying like, oh, we've come to agreements through the Genova Convention.
You know what? I would respect that.
He needs to do more puns, because we did the edge on edge thing.
Yeah. True.
But yeah, Vincent's like, don't take all the blame. You're not thinking of giving up, are you? I used to be
I thought this is the WRO, but I don't even have a W.
He says, I used to be nothing but a stone in the river of time, but 3 years ago, it was you and the others who taught me I had to move ahead. And I was like,
classic phrase that we all know and love.
Everybody knows. Stone in the river of time, baby. Easy. But yeah,
so poetic.
We go to another scene after this, because Vincent kind of just walks away from Reeve. And they're back in. You know what? What did happen? Because now that I think about it, you're right. What happened to Azul?
Is there like another missing chapter that was like only on fucking Sega Game Gear or something? Because like there seems to be a lot missing. Because Azul's missing, like Reeve is alive and well despite getting owned, and also I think we see Shalua, right? Is this?
Well, I thought
so. There's a cutscene where Reeve catches the rocket and like just comes in the last moment and just fucking throws it at Azul, and everything's fine.
He rides
the missile
Ness
like in Contra.
Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
Luigi capes it back to him.
Well, I was willing to believe that they go to like Reeve's office while Azul is still down there like wrecking shit up,
because like tearing the place up. And
because there's like enough blast doors and it's on a
tantrum.
different floor. Like they have some time.
He's like, well, the elevator's broken. They're like, hey, how do you want to get up there?
Yeah. But this scene takes place in Shalua's lab. They went back to the lab. Like, wait a minute.
Back to the lab again. You messed
So
up.
I guess Azul just left. He just got tired and went home.
Well, yeah, one blast door was just...
Yeah, he tried to open the door. He's like, fuck this shit. this is dumb.
Whatever.
Yeah, but Shalula is in one of those tubes. Noticeably, a tube that's laying down.
Yeah, the sideways tube.
Yeah, so...
Is her arm... Actually, we can't see her arm
Yeah,
yet,
I think
so
it's...
who knows if the arm is fine. The arm's probably fine.
It seemed fine when we last left it, yeah.
But Yuffie's all sad.
They say she won't wake up. She suffered too much trauma to her head. Unless there's some kind of a miracle, she's not... Vincent! You were there? Why couldn't you save her?
Yeah, she kind of lashes out at Vincent, like, fuck you, dude. Like,
I do think that, like, to some extent, I thought this was a little bit of a weird choice. Because I don't know, I was like, wait, do Shallua and Yuffie have a history together? Because Yuffie's real fucking torn up about this. And I don't know, I kind of felt like Yuffie just kind of worked on the side sometimes with WRO, sort of, instead of being like...
she says she has been helping WRO, so maybe she knows Shallua for like the last few years as well.
Again, we could definitely just be missing context of like the extra extended universe, and there might be a connection where, you know, Yuffie and Shallua go on a field trip together and bond, and she's like, you know, you remind me a lot of my little sister. She would probably be about your age now and stuff like, you know what I mean? Like,
actually, that's true. Yeah, she is 19 in this one.
Yeah, so who knows?
I do like though that like
maybe her and Shulk went to school together. Who knows?
I do like when Yuffie yells at Vincent though. He just goes, "I'm sorry." Like, he's very just like matter of fact about it. He's like, "Yeah, that was my bad. You're right."
Whoops.
And she's like, "Oh no, I didn't mean that." She feels bad. Like Yuffie feels bad for kind of yelling at him. Like, I guess she expected like a rise out of Vincent for him to like come back with something other than just "I'm sorry."
Yeah, or I mean, she's just like, you know, I guess traumatized
she wants
for whatever
she wants
reason,
to fight.
And just kind of lashing out. You know, I mean, she's
Vincent
younger,
doesn't lash out. He's very passive.
Yeah. You know, another thing about it, all the heroes of like FF7, like all the main characters who get their own games, they're all very passive people. like Cloud is just very, very passive all the time. And I was like, that's kind of a funny thing. And actually, now that I think about it, that's Squall's thing too, is that he's very passive.
Yeah, and I wonder how much of that...
Make Vincent wear a dress.
I wonder how much of that too is just, you know, the classic, like, Link is named Link because he's the link between the player and the game, and that's why he never says anything. And obviously more story-driven things like Final Fantasy games, there has to be more of a connection. But I feel like they kind of wanted people to, you know, be able to self-insert into Cloud a little bit.
Well, Cloud's very talkative. I mean, he has a lot of personality.
Yeah. But I think it with like how passive like the characters
Stoic
are at times, instead of like, you know, who knows?
I just like that, like, they both are not loud people, you know what I mean? They're not brash. Like, even when they're like when everybody's freaking out, they're just like, oh yeah, this is a dilly of a pickle, isn't it? That's as like upset as I get.
Most of Squall's dialogue is just him being like, fuck this shit, I don't want to fucking talk about this shit. Why do I have to talk about this shit?
I know. But yeah, so Shulk walks in and sees an opportunity to just act hard as fuck and absolutely takes it and just says, she was a fool. And Yuffie like immediately runs over there and just smacks the shit out of her.
How can you not like Yuffie, dude? She's so good. She fucking smacks her.
She says, you have no right to call her that. You don't know what. And she's like getting ready to go at Shulk again. And Vincent pulls her away, right?
Yeah.
And Shulk again, and like the funny thing about it is the way that Shulk is saying this, I love the delivery because it's not, there's no emotion at all. It's very like offensive the way that
she's
Shulk
trying to like
speaks.
work it out. Yeah, it's very much just like, I've never seen this before in Deep Ground. I don't understand what's happening.
But it's like the way it's said. There's something more offensive than strictly robotic about the way that she says it. Like it's a little cutting, and that's what I like about the delivery.
Yeah.
Why? Why would she do something so...
Because she's not like, why would she do a thing does not compute? She's just like, why would she do that? She's a fool. Like, that's stupid. Like, I literally don't give a fuck about her.
Like,
and I was just like, vicious.
Yeah, it's like, it's almost pity. It's like, really?
Yeah, it's good.
It's rough.
And then Yuffie starts crying and leaves the room, right?
Yeah. And Vincent has a nice little one-on-one with Shulk.
Yeah, I like this.
Yeah, it's a nice moment.
Before, when I asked Shallua what she was searching for, she answered her reason to live. It was you, Shulk. You were her reason to live.
And Shulk's like, so? I don't understand how someone can give her a life for enough.
She says, so?
Big
vicious.
It's like, I don't give, like, what? That still doesn't really explain anything. It's like, but I like that she kind of turns to Vincent like Like, do you understand Vincent Valentine?
I love that.
You, the viewer, can you solve this pickle for me?
it's pretty hokey. It reminds me of this in one of the newer, or I guess it's not that new anymore, but in one of the Coheed records, like Coheed and Cambria, all of their stuff is like very much so based on a comic that's written by Claudio Sanchez, and the double album The Afterman has a full like story and stuff, and it's more theatrical than other ones because they actually have like characters from it talking throughout like the album and stuff. It's very, very conceptual, and at the end of the one of them, it's just like the AI thing is just like, I am not equipped to comprehend human rationale. Cyrus, is this what love is? And then it's like the sad piano stops and it's just like,
I want to know.
and it's like, it's good. It's like, I'm not like disparaging that. I actually really like that album and stuff. But just in this, it's just like, do you understand the emotion of love and sisterhood? Vincent Valentine.
Yeah.
Vincent Valentine, what is love?
It fits with her character very well. It's just like,
But he does just do the whole like every time a bell rings, an angel gets its wings kind of moment where it's just like when a person has someone they care about that much, giving their life is sometimes the least they can do, and maybe that's what makes us human. If it's just like someone they care about.
I feel like you could probably do a little bit less than just giving your own life if you love someone.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the least you can do. I feel like that might be the maximum that you can do when you love someone.
Yeah, like Shulk is kind of internalized, like someone they care about. Vincent says, although it seems like there's a lot of people around me who don't need a reason to risk their lives for that of another.
Yeah, and then Shulk kind of like thinks about it for a moment and like starts to pass out, right?
I think
she falls to her knees and Vincent catches.
Oh yeah, she stumbles. She's kind of getting a little lightheaded.
Oh yeah.
She don't have that Mako.
She needs her Mako juice box.
She needs her drip.
Yeah, full Mako juice box. That's
Oh, a little Capri Sun.
Yeah.
But we get a little flashback because I think
we get another.
Vincent's being reminded of something.
And I was like, when I first saw this flashback, when I saw it come up, I was like, yo, Vincent's a terrible Turk. He's awful at his job.
This is actually pre-Turk, I think, even.
He's got the suit. He is
wearing the Turk suit.
Well, I think chronologically, it actually hasn't been called this. It's just like the security division or whatever. He's like, it's like a pretty new
no, because I
thing.
think when Lucrezia first met him, wasn't she like, oh, I just never met one of the Turks before?
Yeah.
You're right. Okay,
but,
sorry.
Also, I think all of the Turks are pretty terrible at their job.
Yeah,
Isn't that kind of their thing?
Yeah, that's fair.
I wonder if they just offloaded him because like, we don't need this guy around. Just go send
He's
him.
the fail son of the Turks.
Yeah.
Go send him to hang out with the nerds.
Because basically, like, we get a flashback to when he was guarding Lucretia, right? So he's like the bodyguard for her, and they're in Nibelheim,
He's just
whatever.
chilling in a field.
He's just laying in a field, taking a nap.
Looking pleasant as heck.
Which actually, you know what? Good. Fight against your corporate overlord. Steal back your time.
What does Vincent have to guard Lucretia from anyway?
Yeah.
Right?
So he's just...
Are there people out for her?
Yeah. So he's just chilling. He's just chilling under a tree, taking a nap.
It's got some real Breath of the Wild memory. Like it evokes that to me just because it's like, Link hanging out with Zelda.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a little they exchange some like very cliche pleasantries, kind of flirty, where it's just like
it's a little flirty.
She surprises him because he's like snoozing, and then she's like, "Oh, am I that hideous looking and stuff?" And it's like, "Come on, you fucking kids!"
And he's like, "Oh, I wasn't sleeping," kind of thing. Like,
and then like, so like they have that little like series of pleasantries, and then she pulls out like a picnic basket and is like, "Would you care to join me?" And there's fucking champagne in it, and I was like. Who is Lucretia?
Like,
yeah, I got her bread and wine. Oh yeah.
Which I mean, like, whatever.
I mean, it kind of, and we don't know where this falls in like chronological order with the last like memory that we had, where Vincent was like, "Are you okay with this, Lucretia?" Just because, there definitely seems to be something more going on here than her just being like, "Oh, I'm a scientist and I'm married to my job, and also my coworker."
I think it is implied later that there is Not to reveal too much, but I think that this is like probably before like Lucretia and Hojo kind of get together.
Yeah.
It's like during like Lucretia's early days, like maybe Vincent was also kind of a rookie, and they're both kind of like the two young spring chickens, the two rookies, kind of they're the Pam and Jim situation, the two young who are kind of drawn to each other, but things kind of splintered apart later down the line.
Yeah. But then we're back in the present again with Shulk and Vincent, right? And we kind of like realize what the flashback was about. because Shulk kind of explains, or she doesn't explain here, but what she says is, why are her data fragments responding, right? And we've heard before that like Shulk's thing is the neural network and uploading the information into her brain. And so
she has some of Lucretia's memories.
She has some of her memories, yeah.
So there's maybe a little, some sort of subconscious triggering happening with Vincent, maybe.
Yeah,
then,
which is super cool. Like that reveal is very like. There's so much of me wants to be like, oh, this is a side game. It's very like angsty and stupid and stuff. I very much like. Yeah, there's like
even if Lucretia is gone, she literally is like living on maybe
there's like
her research, which is kind of like over the top but kind of cool.
Yeah, there's like a defense mechanism in me that's like, I should hate this game and it's dumb and stupid. But I see like this and my brain wants to do that. I'm like, no, that's just straight up cool. I just love that.
Yeah,
it's
everything
so
in this episode has been like cool.
Yeah,
I like it. Yeah,
this game is cool.
I think this theme's going to come up a lot, and I think it started in 7, where like fragments of a person, either through their legacy or through their work, creates them to kind of live on. Like I think with like Sephiroth is like a reunion, and with like Lucretia, maybe literally her like study is like what's keeping her alive, and to some degree.
Sure.
And so maybe more when we find more of these files, more things will start to kind of come together, or maybe we'll get a little bit more.
Speaking of the files, Reeve walks in now, and he's no longer punished Reeve. He is back to being based Reeve. And he says, Vincent, I agree with you. Now is not the time to give up. But I need to know something. Those data files you recovered from Shinra Manor, are you sure there were not any more? And I think, weren't we talking about this on the last episode, Alex, where we were like, what happens if you only have one? Does Vincent say, oh, I'm sure there were no more? Because he's like, yeah, there were no more.
Yeah, that's a good question.
This is like, he doesn't want to admit that he didn't look.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Probably.
When you like fuck something up at work, but it's not like egregious enough that it's like a big deal or anything.
Yeah.
And you could easily be like, oh yeah, that was my fault. Like my bad. You're just like, no, I did everything I could. And it's like, okay, cool. Well, good job. And you're like,
it's one of those things where like, no matter what I say, it doesn't really change the outcome, but it might change their opinion of me. So I'm just going to lie.
You know what I just realized with Reeve walking in and being like, you know what, Vincent, I thought about it and you're right. Like I shouldn't feel sorry for myself or whatever. I think I would like Reeve a lot more if they got Stephen Colbert to do his voice, and he was basically
like 7.
Yeah, he's just Phil Ken 7 from Harvey Birdman, Attorney at Law. Vincent, get in here.
He says, the Omega report, the file was incomplete.
To make any sense out of it, we are going to require the other half. If possible, I wanted to know more about our foe before we launched the attack on Midgar.
Which we didn't really talk too much about. I guess we know that Deep Ground is based out of Midgar. I keep forgetting
This is like the first time we've heard like, oh, we're going to strike on Midgar. Okay.
Yeah.
So the Ketchi mission was a scouting mission. Like, okay, we know where they're based, so like we're gonna go in. Finally, I was like, "Wait, what's happening?"
I can't believe Alex.
It's so easy to miss this stuff.
I can't believe Alex just keeps calling Deep Ground based, dude. So, I definitely don't.
It's the place where they are based.
Yeah, no, I know. Just kidding.
The place where they are based.
Sorry,
home is where you're based.
My brain is too base pilled.
Oh, home is where you're based. Everywhere else, you're cringe. So Shulk kind of explains the Omega report and the Lucretia memories here, right?
She's like, oh, you're talking about the findings or whatever, like in response to Reeve talking about the files.
Yeah. And Reeve's like, how did you know that? And she says...
mnemonic.
She does say mnemonic. A large quantity of her mnemonic data fragments has been uploaded into my neural network. And she basically says that like they put Lucretia's studies and findings and whatever into her brain so that they could find the proto-materia, because that was her mission, right? And there was no way they could do it manually, so instead they
were doing machine learning, but with flesh, I guess. Her little meaty brain.
She's a Dune Mentat. So, but she says the bits of Lucretia that they uploaded into her brain are now interfering with her own mind and thought process.
However, not only was the data incomplete, but part of her consciousness began interfering with my own thought processes.
So she's actually kind of like down to help us do whatever we're doing, because she says if I do that, perhaps I can regain control of my mind.
Separating the two halves. It's kind of like the Cloud and Zack thing, where like if I can kind of find if we can complete Lucretia's like half, I can maybe like sort out which part is of me again.
Yeah.
And then Yuffie comes in over the intercom and it sounds very urgent. It sounds like she's in danger or something.
Oh god, something's happening.
Vincent Reeve, you'd better get out here. And they're like, oh shit. And so they run outside and we see that the fucking new Highwind, the Highwind 2, is coming in, right?
Yeah. Cool little FMV of the upgraded Highwind.
Is this the first full FMV we've gotten since the beginning of the game?
It might
there was
be.
one a little earlier with Yuffie.
Okay.
I mean, there's the beginning one, and then there was the start one. There was the calm one, but I think that was it. I think that was it until.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Those are one with
this
Yuffie?
episode. Yeah, I think earlier in this episode there was one with Yuffie, but it wasn't really anything of.
It wasn't a full motion.
Maybe I'm not sure.
No.
I don't remember.
Now I got to comb back and see.
But I know because her face looks very different in FMV. It feels like the studio that is working on the game, the studio that is working on the FMVs, are working from the same concept art, like that is 2-dimensional.
Oh, I see.
But they have different interpretations of the same character.
What?
Much like with FF10, where like, but this ship looks cool.
Yeah, the
super
ship looks
cool
cool.
It lands over the plaza, or is about to land.
And we see and hear our boy Sid. He's here.
Yeah, how do you feel about Sid's voice, y'all?
I like it.
You like it?
He's kind of he's a real cowboy. I mean,
what the hell are we waiting for? It's time to get up and go. Come on, get on board.
I think that the voice acting is very good. I don't know if I feel like in my mind when I was playing Final Fantasy VII, he did not have as animated of an accent as he has in this. So I think with Advent Children and with this, and same voice actor for both, that I don't think it quite works for me.
Really?
Who knows?
I don't blame you because it was a little shocking at first, but then I was like, no, you know, okay, all right. So I know what you mean.
I think it took me off guard, but the kind of when I thought about how I feel about Sid, like,
but
you know what? Like this kind of amplifies like how I felt about him being kind of like the kind of rowdy and kind of. He's a cowboy. Even though he's the space cowboy.
Yeah, he's a very heavy draw to his voice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, almost a fucking blue collar comedy.
Larry the Cable Guy.
Almost.
Hey, what the hell are we waiting for? Time to get up and go.
Come on, get on board.
Sounds like he's always
Shinra down because you had your wife fixing up a propane tank in your engine room.
It sounds like he always
might be a fail son.
It sounds like he always is like chewing skull in the back of his cheek. He's always like chewing.
I mean, he usually has a cigarette.
Yeah, a cigarette. Yeah,
that's true.
Unless you're Kingdom Hearts, I think he has Pocky.
That's fucking awesome. Actually, I love that.
The chapter ends very
and that's the end of I think
it is. It ends almost like an episode of a show where you have like this next time because you get the little hint. Because you get like the hint of Sid coming down, and Sid like literally smiles at the camera.
His iconic smirk, which I don't even know if was that smirk really ever established as like his signature until like I don't know post. I mean that was the face he makes in his like.
I was gonna say maybe his portrait.
So people
and his portrait is more angry. I think.
Is it? I can't remember.
Grimacing.
He still has he's still showing teeth,
baring teeth.
So I'm like wondering if that's just kind of like his iconic like crazy man smile.
Yeah.
But they kind of really started making it like his signature now. Ever since these graphics have gotten better.
Yeah.
You know, I was thinking. When was the last time we got a Final Fantasy game where the party members were just some people, like just some random people? Because I feel like after 9, they're all very related to the plot. I mean, obviously, like these characters are all related to the plot and it all revolves around them. But I feel like they're not related to the central thing, right? Like Cloud's thing with Sephiroth is kind of the central thing, but everybody else has their own little arc going on.
Yeah,
and I feel
which
like
is all related because it all kind of revolves around Sephiroth in one way or another.
And I feel like 8 and then 10 and onward, they're all very related to the central plot. And I was like, when can we just get some random people as party members again? They're just like, I don't know, this is just some guy I found.
Yeah, where's the Waluigi of the Final Fantasy universe? Yeah. The dude who just shows up to play tennis and go-karting and shit.
Isn't that the pitch for Stranger in Paradise? Isn't the Garland character or whatever, like the fucking dude in a t-shirt, supposed to be just like a regular guy?
Oh yeah, is that the one with the butt rock song?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
that might be coming out around the time this episode drops. Who knows? maybe next week.
Yeah, I'm excited to.
Damn.
We'll be too busy playing Chocobo GP. But
7 days until Chocobo GP from recording.
And I got a couple 12-hour days ahead of me to beat Elden Ring to make sure that I can just fully dive into that.
Yeah, but you're right. That is the episode. That is the whole chapter.
I think the only other thing I would mention is that this next chapter is called the Shira, which is also established in Advent Children. I'm pretty sure that the new Highwind, like the next model, Sid very adorably calls it the Shira.
Yeah, yeah.
It's mentioned later that Sid is married Shira now.
Yeah.
It's very cute. So they got together, I guess, or maybe they always together. Who knows?
Yeah, it's hard to say.
And it's like, should we really
They're dynamic? It could go either way.
Should we really be happy about that relationship reaching that point, knowing what we know about that relationship?
Maybe he was humbled a little bit more by the end of the world almost happening.
That's kind of what
I don't know. He's a hero of the Genova War now. It probably went to his head.
Yeah, he just got some empathy uploaded into his neural network so that he's a more compassionate lover.
He is an elderly 33 years old or whatever.
Oh yeah, God, yeah.
Yeah, physically.
I guess he's 36 now. Oh.
Yeah. Well, I think
true.
I think the whole thing is like his whole character arc in 7 is just, coming to terms that he was wrong, and all of him being an asshole to her has just been him being even more of an asshole because it was like
trying not to be a failure. Yeah. There seems to be a lot of the characters actually in 7 are like people trying to like live up to expectations that they were set for them. Maybe.
Well, I think that plays.
Whether it's Cloud trying to be in Soldier, like Yuffie and Wutai. Even I think maybe it has a little bit of stuff like that. Being like the
we talked about it on our 7 series, but like I felt like the main theme of it in a lot of ways was the train, right? Where you can't get off the tracks that you're set on already. And so all these people feel like they're destined to be a certain way, or that they're like following some preordained path for them that fate has just kind of given them. And then the bravery it takes to get off the tracks. And so I would say that's pretty accurate.
Cool.
Well,
so next week
next week you can put those guns away.
Next week, so we're on the Highwind.
If you
yes, I mean it actually does still say the Highwind on the floor.
It does.
So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that next week.
If you like Dirge of Cerberus, but you hate the R1 button, I got good news for you. You won't need it even once next week.
How many R1 presses do you have to do to beat 120 stars in Dirge of Cerberus?
Yeah, that's gonna be good. Do y'all have anything coming up? Anything going on?
Not really.
Not really. I started a dumb Instagram account called Good Pokemon Faces.
Was that you? I didn't know who did it. I was like, this is one of my homies. I don't know who though.
Yeah, that's me and my fiance. Where we just at some point last year, or whoever, time is weird now, so who knows? We were watching the Pokemon anime, and we just noticed a lot of times in the background there's just like not very detailed drawings of Pokemon faces, and we just like laughed at that. We would always take pictures of it and send it to each other. So we're trying to get high quality rips of those good Pokemon faces and just uploading them like once a day.
I mean, that's kind of where that Slackjawed Pikachu meme came from.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's just like a low kind of very lightly detailed because
there's a lot of it with Pikachu. Like I kind of just went through. I took like 5 or 10 minutes of just kind of jumping around in different episodes. And most of them are Pikachu. I was like, I could literally just make this account good Pikachu faces, but trying to not just
spread
Pikachu,
it out a little bit.
But yeah, go follow it there.
So you're gonna be watching Pokemon frame by frame on the Pokemon channel.
Yeah, exactly. Other than that, I was I think I talked about how I was recently on an episode of Don't Give Up Skeleton, which was super fun and super cool, talking about Dark Souls. And I was just on another episode of Daycare Dittos. So I was talking about Tangela.
Tangela. Tell me about what's the deal with Tangela?
It's pretty cool.
Oh shit. Incredible.
He's got some shoes, maybe.
He's just a shower loofah with like those little shower scrubbers.
God, that would be a really cute shower loofah. I have
or like, you remember Koosh Balls?
Yeah,
I haven't seen a good Koosh Ball in a long time.
I have one of the Sit-in Cuties, which is like a series of plush that they have on like all the Pokemon pretty much. I don't know what generation they're up to, but they have all the original 151, and it's the Pokemon company being like, how can we make more money off of Pokemon? They're like, what if we just had small cute plushes that are sitting down? That's their thing. So I got the Sit-in Cutie of Tangela from my fiance for my birthday, and it's extremely, extremely cute.
That sounds very cute. I'm looking at them right now, and I love them.
Yeah, it's
Oh my god,
it's hard to not buy all of them because they're all incredibly cute.
they have all the original 150. Oh my god, there's a coughing
I was gonna say, yeah, I'm sure they have coughing and wheezing.
and a wheezing.
Oh yeah.
Oh my goodness.
That's,
Okay, well,
that's the magic of Pokemon is it's like a never-ending just cash cow because it's literally like, oh, we released a plush of every single Pokemon. They're highly detailed. You know, they're called Pokédolls or whatever. Like that's the series, and it's like, okay, we did all 151. It's like, okay, what if we did all 151, but these ones are sleeping? And you're like, well, fuck, I need to buy the Slowpoke sleeping.
I mean, if you go to if there's a Wikipedia page for the highest grossing IPs, and Pokemon is number 1 above even Star Wars. So like,
Yeah, I'm not surprised at all.
it is
and like,
the cash cow.
it's so funny to me. Just we're fully Pokemon talk now, but when people were like complaining about the graphics in Legends Arceus, it's funny to me that anytime, you know, in like the gamer sphere of talking about Pokemon, people get very like, oh, well, the games are all the same. They're, you know, very childish. It's all like, you know, recycled. And so I'm not saying that these are invalid or anything, but also if you look at Pokemon as like an IP, most of their money is coming from like marketing and like merchandising and shit. So it's like the top of the, like, yes, it started out as just a video game, but it's ballooned up to be more comparable to like Sanrio. So that would kind of, it's not quite the same, but it's like, imagine complaining about a Hello Kitty game because
it also
the graphics
is,
aren't as good as Horizon Zero Dawn or whatever.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the game also is actually for children, though. I mean, like, you know,
yeah,
what I mean? Like,
yeah. And like, also
it's for everyone. It's, you know, it's for everyone.
Legends Arceus is so fucking good too. So it's like, and it's funny when the graphics are fucked up because you look in the distance and see like a 2-frame like Crobat flying.
It's no Dirge of Cerberus, that's for sure.
Yeah, goddamn right. And it never will be.
Yeah, start a petition. Pokemon should make a third-person shooter RPG for Pokemon.
They did. It's called Pokemon Legends Arceus. It's a third-person shooter, except instead of shooting child bullets at Shulk, you're throwing Pokeballs at a cute little Tangela.
You want a first-person shooter? Well, Pokemon Snap just came out. Yeah.
Pokemon Snap is a good rail shooter. Like House of the Dead is just a fucking Pokemon Snap ripoff.
Yeah. House of the Dead is a Pokemon Snap ripoff. I will stand by that.
Love it. But yeah, I think that's all I got going on.
And that's all.
Well, Alex, would you like to punch me so hard that I piss all over the floor?
You're taking the piss out of me this week.
I can't believe I didn't say that earlier.
Yeah, we're not pissed in the British sense.
I'm surprised we haven't been talking about like gamer girl piss in the market for that. It's like Vincent just starts scooping it up.
Missed opportunity.
Do we still think Vincent's an incel? Is that still something that in our headcanon he would do?
Yeah, as far as I'm concerned.
I guess this game Vincent has learned to keep his fucking mouth shut.
Yeah.
You just know, Azul, I don't mind what you're doing. It's just the way that you're doing it.
There's other ways to get gamer girl pissed.
I don't mind that you're making girls piss themselves. It's just the way that you're doing it.
Yeah, this game's good.
Yeah, it's a good game. Piss powered.
Thank you, Masashiyama Uzu. If you're listening, come on the podcast.
Yes.
Leave us a review on iTunes if you so wish. Leave us a review on Spotify if that works. Leave us a message or give us a text at 530-Materia. You can find us at EveryFNFF on Twitter, Instagram, and join our Discord. It's a real fun time. Shademp, or to say, I guess it's Shademp. Shademp has been dropping some really good nuggets in there if you want a kind of almost like an after show discussion. Because
they just get a shout out every episode. It's like they're doing so much work that they're just a credit.
Follow
on the podcast.
Shademp on Twitter. Even if you're not super interested in Dirge of Cerberus itself, like all of the posts from Shademp are so good and so interesting, and just from like a video game just like standpoint of, you know, looking back at one specific like point in time in one game and just all of the extra stuff that's just out there. It's fascinating.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you, Shademp. Thank you again. The extreme potency of this podcast is comparable to that of your barrier field, Azul.
Okay, that's it?
I was going to say that this podcast was just a rock in the river of time.
I've uploaded this podcast to my neural network. It's interfering with my conscious.
No longer needed.
This podcast is no longer needed.
Goodbye.